Well, welcome into an emergency episode of the Dealing the Cards podcast. Ryan Helsley has been traded to the New York Mets in a trade deadline blockbuster that sees the Cardinals acquire 3 prospects from the Mets. As Sandy's jumping on in here too, just got rolling. But yeah, we're going to break down the Cardinals blockbuster move of trading Ryan Helsley to the New York Mets, as well as what else this can mean for the trade deadline on this episode of Dealing the Cards. Welcome into an emergency episode of Dealing the Cards. It was funny. We were just in the chat talking about the Durant trade, and then I put out a couple of tweets about how, hey, calm down. Like, trades, like, it doesn't matter when the trade happens as long as they make the right trade. So, and I was literally just about to put on this. I just put out, like, Cardinals made 2 last-second deals in 2023 when they sold. They made 2 deals in the day before. Like, it's not at all uncommon for them to take some time with some of these deals here. And then boom, Ryan Helsley is in New York to form an incredible duo at the back of the New York Mets bullpen between Edwin Diaz and Ryan Helsley. And this comes just minutes after the Philadelphia Phillies added Johan Duran to their bullpen. So, Sandy, you saw the deal come through. Obviously, we're all still reacting. Obviously, we're all still digesting what this return is. But first of all, like, Ryan Helsley's a New York Met. He's no longer a St. Louis Cardinal. What were your instant thoughts?
I mean, it's the end of an era for sure. He's been the primary closer for you for the last 4 years. They've got the intro and everything. Andrew today joked about how they probably want to get one more of those in. That is not the case. We will not see him pitch tonight. I'm sure he's on a plane headed to New York right now. I mean, that's how they get these things done. It all falls. It gets together very quickly. I'm surprised. I thought he was going to be a Blue Jay. I'll be honest. From what I heard earlier in the day, what we talked about made a lot of sense. The Cardinals have a nice rapport with them, but here we go. He is a New York Met, and honestly, like, early glance at the return, like, I'm happy with it. It looks like the Cardinals got some interesting players. It's about what I pegged the value for Helsley to be. I sent a text message to a friend earlier when they asked what we'd get, and I said, I bet you get 1 prospect in the 8 to 10 range, 1 in the 13 to 17 range, and maybe a lottery ticket. So, I mean, that's about exactly what they got. So yeah. I'm happy with it. I feel like this is fair market value. Yes, it's a little less than the Tyler Rogers deal, but Rogers has been better than Helsley this year.
Yep.
So this is about what we should have expected. Yeah, you're not landing a top 100 prospect for Helsley. He has no control after this, and he's had a bit of a rocky year. But look, I mean, they got it done. They moved him. They brought in real talent, lower level talent, as you predicted. Based on their roster crunch. So nice work there, Josh.
But all in all, tea leaves.
It's a good day, you know?
Yeah. So a quick breakdown. We'll go through, and obviously, like, neither of us are going to claim that we are experts on any of these prospects they just acquired. Most of them we're seeing for the first time. I'd heard of Jesus Baez before. Nate Dohm, though, and Frank Elissalt. Nope, not at all. So Baez is a shortstop in high A for the New York Mets right now. He's the quote unquote prize of the deal. Number 6 prospect in their system, according to Baseball America. Number 8, according to Pipeline. And then you have Nate Dohm, which there seems to be a pretty big difference in Pipeline versus Baseball America. Baseball America actually has him in the 20s. MLB Pipeline has a 14th ranked prospect. He's a starting pitcher again in high A. And then I believe Frank Elissalt, I believe is how you say it, is also in high A. Yes, he is. He's 23, and he's more of a relief pitcher profile. He has a 3.04 ERA, 20 games, 7 starts. So he started a little bit this year with 65 strikeouts and 56 innings of work. Nate Dohm's pitched in 18 games, 17 starts, 2.87 ERA with 77 strikeouts and 62 2/3 innings at the high A level. And then Baez has a 242, 332, 390 slash line with 10 home runs, 11 doubles at high A. He's only 20 years old. So, yeah, I think my reaction right away is, again, I got all over the place the last few days on what I thought Ryan Helsley could be worth, because this relief market is intense. There were a lot of potential names available, but there were a lot of teams that wanted high-end relievers as well. You saw this Duran trade go by earlier, which instantly I heard, I know, you were like, we love Mickey Bell. And I was like, yeah, I would too. I just didn't think even straight up 1-for-1 that's probably going to happen. Duran has these 2 months of control plus 2 more years of control. Sorry, my throat's a little off right now, but he netted a top 50-ish prospect in all baseball and another top 100 prospect. The Cardinals weren't touching that, but when it came out, I was like, okay, so it's not nearly going to be that, but it also gives me confidence that they could get some kind of nice return here. Again, like we're going to like, even if Kareem was on right now, he's not going to have like a million takes about this yet because it's going to take some time to digest this. Again, with them making moves toward the future, going after high A guys, I know John Mozeliak's in charge of the deadline, but I can say with as much confidence as possible that I could possibly say without being in the room that Heim Bloom was part of the reason they targeted these guys. And you know what? I'm going to trust Bloom's process here. I'm going to trust Randy Flores. I'm going to trust Rob Cerfolio. I'm going to trust the grades they have in these guys. I mean, a lot of these guys, whether they're international prospects or drafted, they've got scouting reports on these guys going back to when they're amateurs. They have up-to-date scouting reports on these guys from their own scouts from across the league. This isn't like, I don't know, they're not just throwing darts at a wall and looking at pipeline and be like, oh, we want your 8th ranked prospect. Like, I'm already seeing some messages come through of people being like, oh my gosh, they only got an 8th ranked prospect and a 14th ranked prospect. Okay, first of all, it's a rental reliever. It's not going to be the world. Yeah. Second of all, like these rankings, whatever. Like if they end up being good big leaguers, no one like. Would you rather have the better player or the one that was ranked high in the rankings? Yes, the rankings usually tell you who's going to be a little bit better than the other, but they're also kind of a crapshoot too. So just purely going off of that, probably not the best idea. But again, it's all we have publicly available, so I understand why we freak out about it a little bit. But I mean, you kind of said it already, but you thought this is probably about the ballpark of what you thought they'd get. I know, again, we're mostly just kind of gotten quick glances so far, but anything from Baez or Dohm or Elissalt. Yeah. I need to figure out how to say his last name because I haven't heard it out loud yet, but anything that's intrigued you at all? I think, sorry, I'm going to say it real quick. The thing that intrigues me, you point out, is that they're all low A or high A. I love that they're a little bit further away. Again, I love to have some big league ready arms next year, but we've talked about they already have a convoluted and really thick. Well, I guess that's not even totally true because of the pitching injuries. But I guess from a 40-man front, they've got a lot of decisions to make there. This gives Heim Bloom ultimate flexibility where these guys can take a few years. They can use them as trade bait at some point. They can use them on the big league roster. I already saw the replies of someone saying, no way, we got another shortstop. It's okay. Like
20 years old. Like it's going to be all right.
Yeah, he may never even play for the Cardinals. If he does, Mason Wynn might not even be here when he does. And even if he is, it doesn't mean that Made or Baez, I'm seeing Jesus, calling him Jesus Made. That'd have been awesome. Could play third base, second base. Maybe he's an outfielder long term. If you can play shortstop, you can usually play any position. Sorry, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I've got Dohm or Dohm. I don't know if it would rhyme with Alec Bohm. Trying to figure that out. But I've got his profile on Fangraphs pulled up. He had a pretty successful collegiate career. He does have good strikeout stuff, at least according to what he's done in the past. And it looks like his fastball has touched 97 from the right side. So that's exciting. This year at the high A level, he's got 11.27 K per nine. So that's very nice. He's kept walks in check throughout his career since his freshman year at Ball State. He transferred to Mississippi State. So he pitched in the SEC. So that's fun. That's a pretty tough level of competition. 3rd round pick from the Mets in the 2024 draft. So there's definitely stuff to like here. He's had some pedigree in the past. He's faced real competition, both as a collegiate starter and now as a starter within the Mets system. The Mets have done a lot of good work developing pitchers in recent years. So getting any pitcher from their system is probably something good. So, I mean, early returns, yeah, this guy's got some velocity. He's racked up some strikeouts in the minor leagues. The Mets have used him as a starter when they have a lot of guys available, so they can't get everybody starts. It's nice to get someone they've prioritized in a sense. That's exciting. I don't really know much more about these guys. Like, I'll be diving in and taking a deeper look, and I'm sure Kareem will have much better intel than I'll have by this time tomorrow.
Speaking of,
it looks good.
Kareem back in, I've got the date here, on July 7th of 2024, tweeted out, Nate Dohm is one of my favorite prospects in the 2024 class. Fastball sat at 94th, 18 inches of inverted break. Slider 85. He had some likes about it. I've already seen like Kyle Reese put out like the Dohm, geez, whatever it is specifically is a guy that he likes. And again, Baez seems to be more of a toolsy type too. So
yeah,
you're betting on potential a little bit there. Again, just so far, I'm intrigued by this. I think the Duran trade happening maybe got people a little over their skis. with what was potential for Helsley. Because I even saw some messages in there being like, man, that's what, like, I heard some people say that's what I wanted for Helsley, and I'm like, that's what you wanted for Helsley, like that return, because that was not happening.
He was never coming back.
Yeah, and so like maybe, which I don't even think that's true, a Bell, but like I didn't think that was possible either. Apparently Jackie Moon saying Mets fans are saying the Cardinals fleece them.
Look,
so,
the Mets have unloaded a little bit here. They've traded 4 top 15 prospects plus a major league level reliever that people like for 2 pieces who are both about to hit free agency. So they're really going all in. It's nice to see somebody get aggressive. And I wonder how this affects the market tomorrow too, because remember, Cardinals still have Maton and Matz. And I do think if the right deal is there, if the market's hot tomorrow, I could see Romero traded too. So this could be really nice.
I'm curious what I'm trying to keep up with the chat as much as we can on here. Which also Jackie's makes a good point too. It's probably just fans being attached to their prospects, right? Like ends up happening. So just because Mets fans say a fleece happened here, doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot, but it is interesting. I am trying to keep tabs on the chat, and if you have thoughts on the deal so far, throw them in. We'd love to hear them. Obviously, the Cardinals still have multiple arms that they could be shopping at this deadline between Phil Maton and Steven Matz seem to be the 2 that we think for sure will go. Jojo Romero, I feel like needs to be on the trade block right now, considering the market. Yeah. So, I guess briefly, this will help me, and I'm sure for you as well, digest a little bit more and see if we can find some more data or more thoughts before we just keep spewing about guys who don't know as much yet. And frankly, most people commenting on this don't know much about these guys. So like, we're not, go wherever you want with it. It'll take some time to get some info on them. But how interesting is it that you're now going to have Helsley and Edwin Diaz in the back of that Mets bullpen?
Yeah, and Rogers.
Yeah, true.
That is a 3-headed monster. Rogers leads the majors in games pitched this year. I think he's appeared in over 50 games already. So this is a guy that's been available for the Giants. He's got a sub-2 ERA. He's having a monster season. Helsley's probably your 3rd option right now if you're the Mets, which when you think that's unbelievable. So they're going to be able to shorten games in a real way. They've got 3 closers right now, and they've got some other arms that they really like too that have had good years. So they probably just jumped into, is that the best bullpen in baseball right now? I don't know who's top.
Padres are still really strong right now.
Padres is really good, but Suarez has really struggled at the back.
Yeah, it's up there, right? Like I think we're splitting hairs, right? I think the Mets could be Phillies. They just got really strong with Duran. You have Strahm back there, and Orion, Kirkring. I don't know. I could see. I'm not going to argue with you on it. It's definitely one of the best bullpens, if not.
Yeah, it's in a class with the Padres then, and this new Phillies bullpen, and we'll see how all these things mesh. We'll see how guys adjust to new roles. Ryan Helsley hasn't pitched in the 8th inning in what, like a year, 2 years now. So it'll be interesting to see him in a new role. I will be watching Ryan Helsley's next appearance in a Mets uniform.
Yeah.
I'll be rooting for him. Hey, at the very worst, as a Cardinals fan, now you at least have a guy that you can root for who's going to be playing in the postseason, whether you're rooting for the Mets or not. You can hope for Ryan Helsley's success.
Yeah.
So.
And also at the same time too, it's like, which I think we need to keep this in context. When for as good as Ryan Helsley has been in his career, he's not been as good this year. Correct. And he's still a closer, which I know you could put a premium on at this time of year, but whatever. You knew you didn't have a use for him down the stretch. And so if they get positive value, if they get something in return, like even if the best they get out of this is like a 5th starter or a Thomas AJC type or something,
like get a 5th starter out of this.
Yeah, you're gaining value for the future. And so at a worst case scenario, if one of these guys is a big leaguer, I'm not calling this a win of a deal, but these guys don't have to turn out to be superstars for this to have been worth it for the Cardinals. Again, if you're trading a guy with control, where it's like you do the Soto deal, yeah, there's pressure on the Nationals to nail that return there. And there is pressure on Heim Bloom to nail these trades. But I don't think, I don't know. I know some people are probably a little underwhelmed, wishing that there was some like top 75 prospect that they could dream on in here. But again, like we talked about even earlier in today's earlier episode, which I still think is relevant. So go check that out. We talked about Helsley for a little bit of it, but we talked about Nato, which probably won't do that here, but that's as interesting, especially the Correa stuff coming out that Correa probably won't happen to Houston. makes Nato feel a little more likely to me.
Are you over 50% right now on an Arenado trade?
I'll still say
at that
slightly
45?
under. Yeah, I'd still put it there just because it's still a weird situation. But yeah, I mean, you still got Matson Maton to move here. And at the end of the day, too, like that 2023 deadline, we're still years away from knowing what it is, right? Like, and it's same with this trade. We're probably not going to know the full value the Cardinals get from it until 4 or 5, like it might be 2030 before we could be like, have a good idea of what this return ended up being, which part of the selling moves here. But again, any value they get for the future at this point, this deadline is helpful. They're not taking away from it, and they're only strengthening their farm system at this point. I don't know where Baez is going to rank on their top 30. I don't know where Dohm is going to rank on it.
I mean, I would anticipate that they both rank according to Pipeline, like equal to or better than where they are now in the Mets system.
Yeah, you would probably think, except that back, I feel like the Cardinals top 10 is really interesting now. So I don't know where you would put, because I'm personally not a huge Pipeline guy.
I know it's not the best.
Yeah,
it's
so I'm
most
looking
successful though. The UI is better than everybody else's
for sure. Yeah, I mean, like Baseball America is my favorite, but it can be annoying to navigate at times. And obviously, there's a paywall here. But right now, Baez is their 6th ranked prospect according to Baseball America. So yeah, probably. Yeah, you're probably right. Probably in the 6 to 12 range, I'd say for Baez, but then they're a lot lower on Dohm. They have him at 25, so I don't know where he'll end up ranking with the Cardinals here. And then neither outlet has Elissalt. If anyone knows how to pronounce that, throw that in the chat because that'd be very helpful. Every time I go to say it, I'm like, but he seems interesting too. I haven't gotten much data on him yet in terms of like his pitch arsenal because of the fact that he's not on any of their top 30s. But I mean, the numbers this year look kind of decent. He is 23 though at high A, so you don't. Again, he's the third piece. The third piece wasn't going to be anything beautiful or exceptional here. But does it give you any like relief that the deal already happened, or you kind of like, man, I wish still waiting for like the wonder what it would be?
Well, I mean, it's always fun to be dreaming of what the return's going to be, and then it comes back, and you're like, well, I mean, look, there was instant disappointment when Jordan Hicks was traded. Like that's the best comp to this.
Sorry, real quick. John Denton just put out from Sam Dykstra over at MLB.com. Baez is going to be the Cardinals' 6th ranked prospect. Dohm will be the 15th ranked prospect, and Elissalt will still be unranked.
Okay. I mean, I think when Jordan Hicks was traded, you got back Robersa, who there was a little bit of excitement about, and Kloffenstein, who people really saw as a depth piece at best. And there was not a lot of excitement immediately. But I think both these players are guys you can be a little more excited about. I mean, I just read the quick scouting report on Pipeline for Baez. It's like, look, this guy's really toolsy. People are dreaming on this power. He's got 60 grade power. He's got the athleticism right now to be playing shortstop, third base, and high A. So, I mean, maybe that's a guy that can stick at that position. I have no idea. I'm totally just making this up as I go with the rest of you guys because, I mean, these guys haven't been in our system. I haven't watched him play before. I have no idea. Kareem hasn't jiffed this guy yet for me. Kyle hasn't jiffed this guy yet for me, you know? But look, we'll be figuring it out as we go here. But I think it's as far as I can tell at the moment, it's a good return. Like these are guys that Mets fans on Twitter seem to be saying, hey, I really like this guy. And I'm not thrilled to see him going. And I didn't see anybody say that about Kloffenstein, you know? So I don't think this is something Cardinals fans can be really upset about now. Also, one more thing, and you've made this point to me before, and I think it's a really astute observation. Even if this guy isn't, you know, even if Dohm or Dom, I don't know how to say that, but even if he's not, you know, one of your big arms in the system that you're really excited about, as he, you know, progresses, assuming he continues to progress through the system, the farther along he gets, the more flexibility you have to do something else. You know,
for sure.
Sam Robersa has not contributed at the major league level yet, but having him healthy this year would be a huge boon for the Cardinals because it would allow them to promote a Michael McGreevy earlier, knowing that there's someone else to fill those innings. Yep. There's someone else behind him. There are backfill options. So adding depth to your system, especially intriguing depth that throws 97, that has limited walks throughout his career, that's gotten some strikeouts. Like those are all really good characteristics. Having a guy like that move through your system is very helpful. And so even if these guys don't make an impact at the big league level in the next 5 years, they still could be helpful. moving forward by, adding some depth to your system, allowing the Cardinals to make other trades, So I'm excited about the return, especially if you're going to have this guy. I mean, look, I don't care what outlet it is. If you're ranking number 6 in the system, like, you're somebody worth monitoring.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so a couple other things. Apparently, Jesus Baez was on Baseball America's Top 100 going into the year. He was the 92nd ranked prospect. Has fallen a little bit. I know they've talked about this, and I think it's always important to know too that usually, like, once you get down to like the 75, 70 range, like, there's not much separating the 70th ranked prospect in baseball and the 110th ranked prospect in baseball. It's really preference, splitting hairs, all that kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, these rankings don't matter a whole ton, right? Like, there's guys that Brendan Donovan was never a top 100 prospect and clearly should have been.
Was he even a top 30 prospect for the Cardinals his whole career?
Yeah, he
was outside the top 30 at one point.
Yeah,
for a while.
He has a weird career though, because I think he was a 2020 or 2019 draftee or 2018 draftee, and so I think he's 2018, 2019. He had a great first year in the system. Some people even thought he's gonna be fast tracked to AAA, and then COVID happened, and so he's a weird situation where a lot of those guys got really funky there. So also I got a shout out to GM Gersh here, because I was going back and forth messing around with him about being GM Gersh, but president or VP of special projects at this point. But I like your point you just made about the depth there with Dohm specifically. Like, I'm just trying to pull from as many different people as I just respect on the platform right now and looking around. Like how Reese was just talking about, like, don't sleep on Dohm as a potential fast riser, someone that could contribute rather quickly. Again, don't think anyone should be putting those expectations on it right now, but it does add another arm to the mix here. And if you walk away from this deadline at some point, not that it matters all that much, I'll just say it because people say they like that. According to baseball trade values, is a major or a moderate overpay by New York, so take that as you will.
Very nice.
Anyways, yeah, so Donovan was the 13th ranked prospect in the Cardinal system in 2022. Okay. But I mean, at this point, like, it's the weird part about, like, when you do an MLB draft, when you do a trade deadline where you're selling, and even when you're buying, like, we can give takes now, and some of them may age well, some of them may not. We'll know for quite some time what these guys end up becoming. But part of the reason I'm a little bit more like intrigued and optimistic about this is that, well, first of all, it's even in the moment this reporting wasn't necessarily out there fully, but it clearly came out after that when the Cardinals did their sell-off in 2023, they were specifically targeting arms that were close to MLB ready. They went and, like, they had an ideal type of player in mind, not the best possible players or like their favorite players in the system. It was, how do we get Summer Bursa? How do we get Adam Kaufenstein? How do we get Drew Rom? How do we get Takao Roby? And Takao Roby was like the prize one, but then all these other depth arms, which maybe they could have got a little bit more if they shot for a low A guy or something.
Yeah.
This time around, they are focusing on guys with potential for the future. And also, again, this is Heim Bloom and his team making the calls here and looking after guys rather than Mozeliak and co kind of doing this, which I know they're working together. But again, like you talked about, like, this is gonna, I think you talked about it as well. Like, Bloom, these are Bloom's picks here, right? These are the guys that are affect his future. Mo's already talked about that even from the very beginning. Anything that's going to affect 2026 and beyond, that's in Bloom's court. And the guy that's been having his eyes fixated on the minor leagues for the last 2 years, I'm pretty sure he had a strong influence which prospects they picked. I don't think Mo was like, nope, this is the prospect I want. You're going to take it, Mr. Heim Bloom. So again, I'm intrigued by it. I want to see what happens with the development team here. Jesus Baez is a little bit bigger guy, a little bit thicker, muscular, so maybe there's some power in there that the Cardinals haven't had. I believe he's a right-handed hitter too. So I mean, that's something the system could definitely use a little bit more of here. And he's 20. Like, you like to bet on that. So
yeah, I mean, I'm trying to look through as much stuff as I can here quickly. It looks like, according to Pipeline, Dohm throws 3 average to above average pitches. That's pretty solid. He throws a 4th pitch too.
There is a game going on.
Yeah, there is a game happening, but the trades for the future probably matter more. But look, they're going to slot him in immediately above Takao Roby, it sounds like, on Pipeline. That would, or not, they're going to slot Baez in there, but like that would make him, your second ranked non-catcher position player.
That's a good point.
I mean, it's an area of depth, or it's an area of weakness that the system needed to add to. You're filling needs. I know that not all these guys are going to stick at catcher, and the Cardinals have done a lot of playing catchers at other positions lately. So they'll probably do some of that with like a Ryan Rodriguez potentially. But look, this is a guy that he's slotting in right there. Also, the Cardinals have 4 top 100 prospects according to some outlets, which means if he's ranking number 6, he's pretty close to that threshold. Like, this is a guy that's got some pedigree. So that sounds very good. Yeah. Yep. I like this one here. Exactly.
Yep. R-Dub, like, don't have to add him to 40-man roster. And like, honestly, when you're looking at prospects, there's a lot that's valuable. The upside and potential is probably the most valuable thing, but depending on what deals you're making, not far from it is close to MLB ready, because there's no guarantee that an upside guy in low A is going to make it to the major leagues. And so in order to get a guy with high upside and close to MLB ready, like, those guys teams don't want to give them up, because it's like, not only am I seeing the potential this guy can impact it soon, this guy can impact it soon. So like, when you go after Semper Bursa and Adam Kaufenstein and Drew Rom, like, you're kind of like, oh, really? Like, this guy's not worth much. But it's like, well, they kind of are, because they might be able to give you innings this year. And like, that matters to a team. If you want to target more of the upside, you're going to have, again, unless you have some insane superstar player available, you're probably going to have to look further and further down in the system. And to your point, like, they really have lacked some position player prospects, and a lot of their position player prospects bat left-handed again. So like, even Ryan Mitchell coming in left-handed, but that's like Mitchell and gosh, I keep wanting to call him Jesus Made now. Jesus Baez are two of your probably two of your best, if not the best, non-catching. Well, I guess Joshua Baez I'd put above those guys right now.
I mean, look, Joshua Baez is ranked number 9, but he's had a breakout, and these rankings will get shuffled up, and he's been awesome right now at AA. So we'll see.
In the same range, at least. So yeah, Baez, Mitchell, and Baez. I'm going to keep calling him Made, and it's going to
be fun to have 2 Jay Baezes.
That's true. I didn't think
it could have been in the same lineup had Baez not been promoted already, but I mean, you'll see Joshua Baez at AAA next year, probably.
Yeah.
He's been matching. He's still got like an 850 at AA right now, and he looks advanced enough to move to AAA at some point.
There's a couple of fun tweets on here about I've just seen some people go back and forth where, like, one tweet they're like, I love this deal. One, like, I hate it, actually.
Yeah. I mean, look, the big thing is, I don't think you can look at this and be like, Mo got fleeced, because number one, I don't think Mo's pulling the trigger here. True. I don't think so. I don't think they're allowing Mo Zaylock to make this call. And I don't know if Mo Zaylock himself is trying to make this call. Like, this is the Heim Bloom era. We're living in the Heim Bloom era. And secondly, like, whatever position, unless, the only thing that is like set in stone when you get a guy who's 4 years away from the big leagues is that he's either a pitcher or he's a hitter. Like, that's about it, Yeah. With some guys who are like super advanced at their, high value position, if you've got a catcher who like draws great marks as a receiver in single A, okay, yeah, he's going to catch, right? Yeah. But a guy who's playing the left side of the infield, like shortstop, third base, to me, that signals, you could stick him in the corner. You could stick him at second. Like, he's going to be just all right. He's just athletic, which is a great thing. I'm happy to acquire as many shortstops as possible. The best teams, top 30s, if you look through them, are littered with shortstops. Yep. Because that's what you do. You get athletic players, and you bet on talent and athleticism.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I would love to see JJ get some more time. He's playing some second base, but get time in the outfield, because it's like, okay, now you're close to MLB ready. So like, let's see what it looks like. But when you've got a young guy in the system, most, again, not everyone operates this way, but most people believe like you keep that guy at the harder position as long as possible, because if they can keep handling it, then they usually can just move to the other position. It doesn't mean there's without growing pains, but they can handle these other positions. You don't need to pigeonhole them to right field in low A, double A, high A, because you've got a major league shortstop. Because again, like, love Mason Wynn, but like, think back to 2020 when Dylan Carlson debuted. I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who are like, you don't need a corner outfield for 5 more years. Guess what? 3 years later, he's not starting anymore. So like,
it happens.
Again, Mason Wynn might not be here in 4 years. Even if he is, it doesn't mean Jesus Baez works out. Even if Jesus Baez does work out and Mason Wynn's here and JJ Weatherholt's here, doesn't mean he can't move positions. if that doesn't work
do what
either,
you can to get good bats in your lineup. Like you prioritize
Exactly.
the bats. That's why Herrera's playing left field right now. And apparently he just made a not great play, but like, that's why they're trying this. Like Herrera's bat is worth getting into the lineup. You get it into the lineup. You protect them. You keep them healthy. Like these are logical moves for teams to make. You're absolutely right though. Like the roster turnover year to year is shocking sometimes. You have no idea. Look, Jordan Walker at the end of his rookie season posted on the year a 116 WRC plus. That's a great mark for a guy who's 20 years old. We definitely thought like he's the corner outfielder of the future in St. Louis after that year. Very excited about it. There's every chance that if Jordan Walker flubs next year and finishes the year with a 72 WRC plus, like he's not on the team in 2027, 2028, stuff changes really quickly.
Yep. And again, I'm not like some people in chat be like, there's no way Baez takes Mason Wynn's spot. First of all, there is a way. Second of all, I'm not saying that's happening. I'm not betting against Mason Wynn not being here in 2 to 3 years.
He's in the high A.
But the dude's in high A. So like again, even if Mason Wynn works out here and Baez works out, Wynn might be in year 2 of arbitration by that point. So like, okay. Again, I think most people understand that. But I love Mason Wynn, but he specifically, Jackie, I just saw your message about this. He's a guy that's really interesting to me and I'm intrigued and still really love Mason Wynn. But you look at like his B WAR in his first 2 years and it puts him in a class of like shortstops like Francisco Lindor, Hanley Ramirez, like top guys ever, but not top guys ever, top guys the last 20 years. It's like he's in a class of like 10 guys, like Tulowitzki, but he gets most of that value defensively when those guys really were bat guys.
Yeah.
And so I'm not trying to discount Mason Wynn at all. What I'm trying to say though is it's like, even when you look at stuff like that, it's like, well, technically value wise, he's ranking with some pretty iconic shortstops, but do I really believe Mason Wynn's Francisco Lindor, Troy Tulowitzki, Hanley Ramirez? No, not right now.
If Mason Wynn took a step forward with the bat and was like a 120 to 130 guy, he would immediately jump into the conversation of top 3 shortstops in the National League or all of baseball. There's value to be gained there.
He'd be a star at that point for sure, like a superstar.
So I mean, there's potential with him too. You saw that jump he made late in his minor league career where he added a bunch of power. So maybe we see that if he gets more comfortable. But
so not at all trying to act like Mason Wynn can't do those things, but like even where he's at right now, if I had to bet, he's going to be a really good player, even a great player, but not quite star, not quite superstar. And honestly, like probably if you're mocking up the Cardinals lineup in 2027, 2028, and you have Mason Wynn leading off or batting second, that's probably not good. You probably want him, at least what we've shown us so far, being more of a bottom lineup guy. Again, yes, you're right. Mason Wynn was far better defensively than most of those guys. Francisco Lindor is a great defender. And there were other guys. I was just listing out some of the ones I remembered. But my point was, like, at the end of the day, being a pretty good or good shortstop defender with an insane bat is better than being an insane shortstop defender with an average bat. It just is. Like, and so,
I mean, offense.
So I mean, I'm impressed that Mason Wynn is in categories like that, but it can be misleading if you just kind of attribute it to that and be like, well, he's in the same conversation B WAR as why some of those guys. I'm like, well, how you get your value does matter to some extent. So, I think R-Dub hits on the head here. Like, probably Wynn is probably best as your 4th to 6th best position player on a team. Probably not a top 3 or 4, but hopefully he changes that, right? Like, if he can start hitting for a higher average and be in the 300 range, that helps a lot. Or if you can start drawing more walks or get more power or a combination of those things, Wynn can be a really stud right there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, too, I think we get so caught up in like whether a guy is truly a star or not, or like where he should rank on your team. At the end of the day, like when you got to compare players to other players at their position, not other players on their team.
Yep.
And it's like, Wynn's a winning shortstop, teams all the time, winning teams all the time have guys at shortstop that are league average bats that play elite defense. And that's a winning player. I mean, you think about the Dodgers employed Miguel Rojas for multiple years to play a significant amount of shortstop in LA. Mason Wynn is much better than him. I'm not saying Mason Wynn is Andrelton Simmons defensively, but like you look at a guy that got a ton of value out of his glove over the years.
I'm just looking. I mean, again, it's just one guy, but Keith Law calls it an effing heist by the Cardinals here.
Wow, that's nice.
Prospects guru. He said a lot of it's because of the fact that Helsley is a free agent and strictly a rental. So he is a big fan of what the Cardinals were able to acquire here for Helsley. So, wow. Anyways, that's just again one thought on it. But again, I don't want to overstate it right now. But again, seems like an intriguing return. And again, we've talked about you still got Phil Maton to move, you still got Steven Matz to move, and hopefully they move JoJo because I think JoJo could get you hopefully something in this range. Yeah, I know, Jackie, I don't agree with everything Keith Law says, but like one time Keith Law argued with me on Twitter because he literally on radio said Lars Nootbaar is a fourth outfielder after Lars Nootbaar like put up like it was like in 2023 or something like that.
Oh,
and it was like by that point it was like I'm not even trying to be the Nootbaar homer. It was like he's not a fourth like production, and he was saying production wise he wasn't even like injuries, all this kind of stuff. He's like, yeah, he just is. And like
healthy Nootbaar is definitely
clearly you're not paying attention. Like he's called Jordan Walker slow before, and it's like he's definitely not slow. I don't know. There's just stuff where Cooper Jerpies. He said some weird stuff about him sometimes. So, anyways, I don't always agree with the Keith Law kind of guy, but lately, I mean, he's got Doyle in his top 25 prospects. JJ Weatherholt is his number 3 prospect in all baseball. Yeah. So I mean, when he says good things, you like it, right? But
yeah, I'm happy to listen to him when he says stuff like that.
But yeah, I mean, if you can trade JoJo here, I feel like a return around this range is probably fair.
You could get more for JoJo, maybe.
It's a maybe to me.
Talked about this yet? Okay, the Phillies have stocked up. The Mets have double stocked up. The Yankees don't have their guy yet. The Blue Jays don't have their guy yet.
Dodgers
the Mariners could use some bullpen help. The Dodgers could use a guy. None of these teams have their guys. At the end of the day, like the Helsley trade is great because it didn't take anybody else out of the running. First off, and second, it's another big name off the board, and you're still sitting on, I would say, 3 of the 10 arms like that I would want right now. You're sitting on 3 really, really good arms. I would call JoJo and Maton both impact arms, and I would call Matz a Swiss Army knife. Steven Matz, the value is understated. Steven Matz has done everything the Cardinals have asked of him. He's done high leverage stuff. He's done low leverage stuff, multi-inning appearances, mop-up duty, spot starts. That's a really big deal. And I don't think fans have appreciated that enough from him this year, but he's answered the bell in at least 5 or 6 different kinds of situations for the Cardinals. And I think a contender is going to value that. Look, if you have a guy that goes out and gets shelled and you need somebody to get out there and cover or somebody to keep you in the game because you pull someone early in a must-win game, you need a guy that can go out there and cover. I think that's a hole that people like to fill. And the Cardinals have had that luxury all year of having a guy they can call on in any situation, and he's coming from the left side.
For sure.
So I think that matters a lot. You're sitting on 3 really good arms, and the Yankees, Dodgers, Mariners, maybe the Astros, the Cubs.
Even the Padres apparently still want arms, even though they have a great bullpen.
Look, they need Suarez has not been it for them.
Yeah. Well,
they need somebody.
He's not. It's not like he's been bad though either.
Should not have been an all-star. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I agree on that for sure.
But they could use some extra arms. Like they would love Maton, And if you're the best bullpen, or if you're in the conversation for best bullpen, why not just be the best bullpen and go out and add 2 high leverage guys? That's what teams can do right now to separate themselves. So the Cardinals are still in a good spot, and what's already been a little bit of a seller's market today is trending more towards that now. Because how many teams are moving relief help that's actually interesting? The Nationals are selling. Do you want any of those relievers? Like the Angels took 2 of them. Oh, big whoop.
For sure.
How many? Yeah. So there's plenty of value to be had here.
Yeah, honestly, I'm looking at JoJo here. I did some work on it the other day, and I actually had the Mets pegged as a place for JoJo. But Toronto ended up being my top play because they really only have one dependable left-handed reliever right now. The Dodgers have options technically, but they're all hurt and their bullpen isn't good. So I feel like they're going to add
JoJo to LA would make so much sense in this National League with so many big lefty sluggers and so many power hitters. JoJo's only allowed 1 home run this year. He's done a great job keeping the ball in the park. I think he's pitched 40 some innings, 1 home run allowed. That's elite. That's among the best in baseball. among relievers. He's done a great job. I know it's a small sample, but he's done a great job at minimizing fly balls. He's generating ground balls at like a 96% rate, and he's striking guys out, and he's not really walking the world. That's pretty good stuff. So yeah, I mean, I'd be very interested in JoJo right now. And I think I would expect a return similar to this, if not better, because of that exterior control and the heater he's on. Like, JoJo is so good right now. If you're acquiring him, you're getting a guy that, at least at the moment, is as locked in as anybody in baseball. And it's a plug and play immediately as probably the best lefty in your pen. That's a big deal for a contender.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw this pin chat on there because I have some. I guess there's. I mean, we should have realized there's people popping in who haven't seen the return or don't know too much yet. So I'll keep that up there as we go through. But yeah, I totally agree with you. I would say the Padres are a really good fit for that too, because we were talking about earlier. It's like they're probably the team that has the least lefty. Like they're even then it's still Arise and Merrill and Cronenworth, but like I think they rely a little bit more on the right-handed bats. I guess that's not even true though. It's more Machado and
but like you need a guy to go to in the postseason that neutralizes left-handed hitters.
Which they don't have a lot of that right now besides Moryong. And again, we talked about earlier, it's like if you, especially the Padres love to go their bullpen early. Yeah. And so like for them specifically, it's like if you're going to the bullpen in the fifth inning all the time, or like you're to run through those left-handed bats from the Dodgers, the Cubs, the Phillies, the Mets multiple times in a game after the starter. And so I mean, if I were any of these teams right now in the National League specifically, the American League, I was going through and their lineups are not as strong with left-handed hitting this year in a way that I feel like if I'm a National League team, I specifically want a top-end left-handed pitcher because of that. The value they can provide me, the wild card series, the division series, championship series. And we've also talked about this before too. Like there's data to back up that left-handed hitters do a little bit better in the postseason than right-handed hitters. Like they up right-handed hitters slightly regress from what they did in the regular season. Left-handed hitters usually play up slightly. And a lot of it's because this is the best teams, right? So you're getting the best bats in there typically. But also like, again, these left-handed hitters present some pretty tough matchups in the postseason. And so if you're thinking of, we got to face PCA, Bush, and Tucker in one series, and we have to face Ohtani, Freeman, Muncy, and all these guys in the next series, and we have to face Harper and Schwarber in the other, like that's a potential path through the wild card series. Like if you're a wild card team, you might have to face the Phillies or the Mets and the Dodgers and the Cubs. Like that would be tough without multiple high-level left-handed arms. So yeah, I agree. He'd be worth a ton. Also, like Phil Maton, he's a guy that's not splitty at all. So he spins the ball super well. He's got that cutter that can run in on lefties. So he's a guy that teams can see as a right-handed option that could, again, honestly, like that's potentially even more valuable. Again, he doesn't have the control, which helps him Romero out. But like having a guy that you like, Romero is worse against righties. To have Maton in there where it's like you could face Freeman, Betts, Ohtani and feel good about it. Like that would be a asset too. And then to your point, like to get to the postseason, having a guy like Matz is helpful because he can start some games for you if you need it. He can give you multiple innings if you need it, and he can shut down lefties. But then once he gets to the postseason, then he can fill into that shutdown left-handed role. So yeah, I see how all three could be valuable, and Nato is still available too.
Michaelis is still here.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So now that the Cardinals have traded Helsley, I think I was less sure on Helsley being moved than I was on Maton. Maton, I think, is definitely being moved. I just thought the Cardinals could waffle because they like Helsley so much, and the possibility of the QO was technically still there. Let's say the Cardinals have made two moves now, over under 3.5. Oof. I would lock in the over right now, I think. I just think there's going to be a move on the periphery made. There's going to be a Pozo or a Prieto or something like that moved. I think at least one of these guys. I mean, I might even take the over on 4.5 right now. With those two already in the bag, I think I'd consider that.
I'd definitely take 3.5 over. 4.5 is a little tough.
It's aggressive, but do you think they make one of those moves on the periphery? Because if they do, there's a world where all three of these other relievers are gone.
Yeah, I'd love to see them do the periphery move. I don't know if they do it. No, but yeah, let's be fun. Let's say over 4.5. Why not? Them Cardinals.
They should make as many moves as they can right now. Because, like, look, even if you trade Prieto and you get another Prieto who's in single A, that guy can be filler for you in a few years when you don't need filler now. Prieto's not going to survive this roster crunch. If you trade Baker for another guy that hits lefties and he's playing at high A and he's an advanced bat who struggles against right-handed pitching, it's like, great. I'm kicking that can down the road a little bit, and he can be part of a roster crunch in 4 years instead of this offseason when he's probably not going to make it and you're just going to cut him for nothing.
Yeah. Also, Jackie asked a really good question. I don't know if I think a lot of people were wondering. Everyone knows the Heim Bloom Mookie Betts trade, but this is the guy that at a deadline where the Red Sox could have bought or sold, and the clubhouse wasn't super happy with it. But Heim Bloom sold their catcher Christian Vasquez and got future Rookie of the Year Willie Abreu out of it. So like that's a really interesting trade. He did go aggressively for Kyle Schwarber at a deadline for the Yankees, for the Red Sox, and really didn't give up much for it. I know he made a couple of other sellers trades at that 2022 trade deadline, and I cannot remember what some of them were. And he's also been a part of some Rays front offices, acted pretty decisively at deadlines too. So yeah, we'll see. But I mean, I do think there's a chance that that Ryan Helsley comes back to St. Louis too. Again, I wouldn't necessarily bet on it right now. Oh gosh, is something wrong with Shohei Ohtani? Sorry, I'm getting really distracted. Ohtani threw 6 straight balls and now a trainer is coming out to see him. Oh no. Uh-oh. Andrew. Uh-oh. Maybe Ohtani's getting traded to St. Louis. Oh.
Don't tell Andrew. That's not good.
Yeah, I'll let him be. I know he's busy right now. I don't want to freak him out.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think a successful move for the Cardinals, and we'll be with you for what happens in the future. There's gonna be more moves between now and tomorrow's deadline.
Bernie just tweeted at us. He said, "Hey, Josh, 98, been watching you guys. OMG, the St. Louis Cardinals traded for a shortstop. OMG, fire Bloom. OMG." Much love, Bernie. That's awesome.
Bernie's the man.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I know. I get it because there's a lot of people who don't follow baseball super closely, and so I know that if you're more on the casual side of it and more NBA NFL style, then it's like if you trade for a quarterback and you have Patrick Mahomes, you're like, what are they doing? Or you're the Timberwolves and they drafted like 4 point guards in the top 15 one year and they didn't pick Curry, but they picked all the other ones. You're probably like, why are we drafting 4 point guards? But it's totally different, guys. Totally different. But
yeah, these guys aren't ready for multiple years, and positional versatility is a thing in baseball. I mean, it's like a few years ago, Baylor football got a guy in the portal from Tennessee, Jalen Hurd, and he was like mostly a running back before the move, and he played wide receiver at Baylor. And people were like, we don't need another running back. And then he played wide receiver. Maybe it's a little like that, but it's even different than that because you're talking multiple years of waiting on this guy, multiple years of trying out other positional homes.
Yeah.
There's data too that supports that, hey, a lot of shortstops very easily transition to second or first as they add, and all the time, like most high schoolers selected are shortstops or center fielders because they're the most athletic player on their high school team and their coach wants them to have the most chances.
Yeah. And some of the chat right now, I can't. I also think some Cardinal fans are probably burned by the whole Jordan Walker moving to the outfield and it looking really rough for a while. But like, this is multi-layered incompetency from the Cardinals that really doesn't have anything to do with the fact that Jordan Walker was a third baseman. Like when Jordan Walker was drafted as a third baseman, he was drafted as someone that most people thought would not be able to play third base at the professional level. And even if he was, it wasn't going to look good. He was huge. Like you just don't see third baseman like that. He's clunky, and playing on the dirt typically is a lot harder to play than the outfield. The Cardinals should have moved him much earlier than they did.
They should have moved him immediately. Look, I wish that they wouldn't label prospects with position. Just call him athlete. They do that in football all the time. Or in basketball, they'll call you a combo guard, or just a forward, or when you could be any number of things. I wish that they would just call them athletes when they draft high schoolers like that, because it just, for whatever reason, for years, they just assumed he could have stuck there. And all of the reports indicate that he probably would not have stuck at third base.
Yeah, I feel like it's tough because you can't you probably can't call first baseman an athlete, right? Or
you don't have to. You can call first baseman a corner infielder.
That's true. Yeah, there's probably better designations. We're like in the NFL, like it's like edge or inside tackle or like that kind of stuff rather than like.
But there's athletes. Somebody tried to classify as an offensive weapon, and they actually would not let him do that. They made
gadget player.
Something else. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I feel like that would probably help out a lot. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's just we need to remember like these guys are a ways off. And also too, like if you're selling at the deadline, I know some people just joined in or have caught only parts of this too, but if you're selling at the deadline and you're looking for upside, you're probably going to have to look further down in the system in the lower levels rather than the higher levels, which makes it even less like it matters even less what position they play compared to a major league roster at that point. If the Cardinals wanted some more MLB ready talent right now, they could have went for it, but probably wouldn't have had the upside as some of these guys potentially have. And at the end of the day, we'll see what happens, right? Like Baez could be a multi-time all-star, or he could never make it to the major leagues, or something in between. Same with all these guys. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But we'll I don't know if we'll do an emergency pod from Maton or Mats. Who knows?
Depends on the return. If they like schooled somebody. But we have our special tomorrow anyway.
That's true. But yeah, that's the big thing is if you enjoyed this, we're going to be going live tomorrow, I think starting at 3 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, which is about 2 hours before the deadline. We'll be talking all the deals that are happening with the Cardinals. Kareem will be on too, so very excited about that. We'll also talk about anything else that happens in terms of like big deals around the league. Obviously, the Duran trade today is the biggest thing, but Helsley's second right now, biggest deal that's happened. Yeah, Jackie will be there. Really appreciate his support as always. And many of you guys, I know like Samuel's in here, Graham's in here. Sorry, I'm trying to scroll through the chat. People are right. I mean, Joseph, everyone, we appreciate everyone's in here right now. Like Julius, I don't think I've seen your name before. Appreciate you jumping in. Bill's in here today, like a lot of regulars. If you enjoyed this, make sure you like and subscribe. Helps channel a ton. Again, we're going live tomorrow for multiple hours to talk through Cardinals deals, other deals that are happening. I'm also going to throw this out here too. We always want to thank our sponsor or a presenting sponsor of the Deal on the Cards podcast, and that's 314 Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're located at 9640 Olive Boulevard and all of that. Open 10 to 5 Monday through Friday and 10 to 4 on Saturdays and Sundays. They buy, sell, and trade all sports cards and Pokemon cards and the new selections of packs, boxes, and single cards of local players and stars from our league. Make sure you go check them out if you're into card collecting. We also do have a promo code on Underdog Fantasy. If you type in that promo code CARDS, you can get a first free pick 'em. Plus a first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. So yeah, if you're into playing some fantasy games, make sure you check that out and use our promo code cards. And lastly, SeatGeek, if you're wanting to go to a Cardinal game, wanting to go to any sporting event or concert, use the code NewtNews to get $20 off a purchase of $50 or more. Yeah, we'll be live tomorrow talking about all things related to the deadline. Really appreciate everyone jumping in, their support as always. Sorry, I saw someone say thanks, Bernie, on here, but I don't think I saw him in the chat. But I know he's going back and forth with people on Twitter, so I'm trying to keep up with it. Anything else you're noticing from any other takes or things you want to say before we jump off?
Yeah, I mean, I think that about covers it. I like the move for the Cardinals. Maybe one last piece of analysis. Look, Michael McGreevy probably has a lower ceiling than a Dohm, for example, right? He's touched 99 before. He sits 95 to 96 at times, throws multiple interesting pitches that grade out as above average, but he's much farther away from the big leagues. And that's why Michael McGreevy would rate above him on a prospect list, because they take into account big league readiness and position. So like we know Michael McGreevy is ready to pitch in the big leagues, and he's confirmed to be a starter. Like Dohm is so early in his career, he might be a reliever. He was a reliever in college at times. So they take things like that into account. So it's like, look, you can get a guy with a higher ceiling, but like you said, they're farther away. They'll rank a little behind some of the guys that are, close to being ready, but they could have higher ceilings farther down in your top 30 because they're farther from the big leagues. So that's something to monitor there.
Yep. And again, we've said some of this stuff before, so you've been on here the whole time. You probably caught some of this already. Also, happy early birthday, Joseph. Then you might have already caught this, but the Cardinals do have a 40-man roster crunch on their hands. We've got this offseason, you need to add Crooks, Bernal, Jerpy, Baez, and Church, and also Motts and Rochik are also 40-man eligible. You already have Tink Hence and Takao Roby on the 40-man roster, and Semmer Bursa, who all have not made, and Matt Koperniak, who all have not made MLB debuts yet.
You can throw Roby on the 60-day though, because he's going to be out all year.
Well,
right?
so that's where it gets tricky. Is in the off season there is no 60-day, so your 40 man has to be your 40 man. Then also once you get to the regular season, which this part I hadn't learned till recently. Once you get to the regular season, the minor league 60-day IL does not free up a 40-man roster spot. So if the Cardinals wanted to free up a 40-man roster spot next year with Roby Spot, they would have to promote him to St. Louis and put him on the Major League 60-day IL, which starts his service clock. You'd use an option anyways because he's on the 40-man, but you would to demote him to AAA after Springfield or after spring training, but you would have to start his service clock if you wanted to free up a 40-man spot. So it's tricky because you've got potentially 3 guys already on the 40-man roster who can't be put on the 60-day IL between Roby, Jerpy, and Robersa. So that's 3. Like that's tricky. Again, I don't want to overstate it because like especially with Robersa and even potentially Jerpy, it's like I don't know what these guys are going to be, and Roby. We don't know what these guys are going to become. But like asset management matters for the Cardinals right now because clearly they need to like not be losing potential big leaguers, potential value. So it's something to keep an eye on. So the fact that they were able to get guys who are a little bit further away. Oh gosh, apparently Michaelis just gave up a home run. So that's fun.
Back to back, I think.
Oh, back to back. Great.
Oh, no. It's just a 2-run bomb.
Oh, okay.
But this pitch was 83 miles an hour in the zone. Absolutely smashed 440.
Yikes.
Center field. Yeah.
So, yeah, to acquire a guy that's a little bit further away helps out with that. Again, it gives the Cardinals player development team more time to use it or to mess with these guys a little bit. Again, sorry, I keep saying that's not helpful. Baez is 2020, I believe. Is 2020 is 20. I believe Dohm is 20, he's 22, and then Elissalt is 23. So especially with Baez, like he's pretty far away. So and he's pretty young, so that gives him. I mean, you'd be 3 years from now and be near MLB ready. He's still young. So, and again, like maybe that's a guy that they end up using in 2028 to go get something. So you just never know what happens with these things. So. Again, we could go live before tomorrow's 3 p.m. trade deadline live stream. We'll play it by ear depending on what happens. Otherwise, you can catch us for the last 2 hours of the MLB trade deadline on here. Be you, me, Andrew, and Kareem. Maybe we'll have some other guests pop on. Who knows? Should be a fun time, though. Appreciate the support as always. Make sure to like and subscribe. Helps channel a ton. We appreciate everyone jumping in. This has been a fun chat and live stream so far. Again, we try to get to all the comments. It was really popping today, so I did my best to try and thumb through them. I know Sandy was as well. Appreciate all of you guys, and we'll be back again tomorrow for the trade deadline live stream. See ya.
Thanks, Heim.
Thanks, Ryan.